It's the game edition of Game Time Decisions. I'm Nathan Baird from cleveland.com along with Stephen Means. These are the deciding factors for one or both of these teams as they get ready to play for the Big Ten East Championship and the best rivalry in sports, or at least in college football, and possibly a chance to still be able to play for a national championship. Stephen, what is your game time decision?
Yeah, so everybody knows Michigan wants to run the ball. And typically, what comes with a team who wants to run it as much as Michigan does is wanting to control the clock, wanting to control time of possession, wanting to hold on to the ball. That's especially important when you're playing a team as explosive as Ohio State. You want to keep CJ Stroud in that passing offense, sitting on the bench, spectating, and not on the field. And Michigan has actually done an extremely good job of that this year. They're averaging 35 minutes per game, 35 minutes and 6 seconds in time of possession per game. That's third in the country behind the Air Force in Minnesota. So that shows you. And the reason why I brought this up was last week they kind of did it against Illinois, where their first possession was 12 minutes when the first quarter is 15 minutes. They want to hold on to the ball. And so the thing I want to focus on there, that's 6 minutes and 26 seconds per possession. Is what that boils down to. And I want to see Ohio State can't have that happen. That means multiple third down conversions. That means you're constantly in these 3rd and 2 situations. You had a similar thing last year is what happens in 3rd and 2 for Ohio State's defense? Can they get off of the field? And so it's on that track. They didn't do a good job of that. But the point I want to make is, can Ohio State hold Michigan under 5 minutes per possession? I think that's a quality day for the defense because that does the thing we're talking about. And there's going to be some long possessions, especially early in the game when Michigan is still on its script. But Ohio State's defense has got to get off the field. They've got to give this ball back to the offense as quickly as possible and as often as possible, just in case some things are a little funky. So can they hold Michigan basically 90 seconds under what their average is for the season? And it's 6:26 per possession. Can they hold them 90 seconds under that?
So I'm actually picking one that's kind of along the same lines a little bit. And I mentioned this in my game prediction if people want to go look at that over here on the YouTube channel. But Ohio State this year, the only team in the country that scores a higher percentage of touchdowns on its red zone possessions is Mississippi State. They're at 81.08, and Ohio State 79.63% of its red zone possessions scoring touchdowns. So they're exceptionally good. I mean, they score almost every time, 52 out of 54 times in the red zone, but they get a touchdown a significant amount of those times. For Michigan, that's not the case. Now, they're pretty good overall. I think they're in the top 20 nationally in terms of just the pure number of times that they score in the red zone. But 64% of their red zone possessions end in touchdowns. That's only 59th nationally. And for an offense that is so prolific in so many other ways, they've gotten into some trouble there, but they haven't been able to finish off enough drives. They have a great kicker in Jake Moody. Ohio State has a great kicker in Noah Ruggles. So I think the key for both of these teams is defensively to for Ohio State, it's to maintain its percentage. Like it has to get in the red zone. It has to keep driving and it has to score touchdowns. And for the Ohio State defense, it's about keeping Michigan out of the end zone. I think you're right that Michigan's going to be able to make some drives. Ohio State's going to have to keep those drives out of the end zone, make them use Jake Moody, make them take the 3 points, kind of a layup there, and live to fight another day. Get the ball back to your offense and let them go try to score a touchdown, which they've obviously been very adept at doing. If that's a ratio that Ohio State can continue both sides of the ball. If it can score touchdowns and hold Michigan to field goals a preponderance of the time, that's a pretty easy formula to win. I'm not saying it'll be an easy thing to do, but the numbers add up pretty quickly in their favor. Come back to Buckeye Talk. Come back to cleveland.com/OSU, I should say, after the game for full breakdown, a lot of coverage from the whole day at Ohio Stadium. Come back for the Buckeye Talk post-game podcast, wherever you can find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315. That's where we'll be texting you intel, what we see from Ohio State's running backs and the other guys who are coming back of injury, what we see about Blake Corum and the other guys from Michigan who are coming back from injury. We're giving you eyes and ears and whatever other senses we need to use from Ohio Stadium right before the game, and they'll be coming to that number from Buckeye Talk.